Hi, I'm Lori Betts. Welcome to Golden Years. This month I have a special guest, Jim Sanderson, and his lovely wife, Jo, who has been his support team through his journey. So come on back and we're going to hear his story.
Hey, did you know that 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Go to theshelterpetproject.org and search your local shelters and rescues. Go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
You're watching The Bat.
Hi, welcome back to Golden Years. And I have a special guest this month. I received an email from Jenny Cusis from the Office for Older Adults. And she said she met a wonderful gentleman who turned into is an amputee, and he wanted to share his story. And his support group, number one, was his wife. So Jim, thank you so much for being on my show.
Pleasure to be here.
And let's tell my viewers how this all started. In your journey, you told me you were a diabetic.
That's true.
A compliant diabetic?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't compliant with my meds, and I ended up getting gangrene in both of my legs, and my wife and my son kept begging me to go to the doctor, and I wouldn't go to the doctor because of two things: fear and stubbornness. So I started getting sick, and I was running a fever. Light temperatures like 99 degrees. So I thought I was getting like a sinus infection or something. So I was taking some Advil, and the temperature would go away. Well, I ended up sitting in my chair at home, and they kept telling me, go to the hospital, go to the hospital. And I didn't want to do it. So I sat there until June 21st.
In what year? Tell them what year we're talking.
Of 2013.
Okay.
I sat there till 21st, and then finally I woke up one morning and I told Jo, I says, call the ambulance. I says, I can't take anymore. I was just so weak.
Now, did you get to a point that you were done pushing him?
You stop.
Yeah, you reached that point.
You stop because trying to get him to go to the doctor for a long time, you just stop. Because he'd get mad and say, leave me alone. When I'm ready, I'll let you know. And that's what I did. My son would come over every day because he was just living on popsicles.
Ugh.
I wasn't eating anything.
And we knew.
I had no appetite. So anyways, the ambulance came and got me, and they took me to Medina Hospital, the emergency room.
Okay.
And I probably had about 9 doctors look at me that day. And the one doctor told her if I would have stayed home one more day, I probably would have died. That's how stubborn I was. And anyways, they ended up, I was in intensive care, and about 3 or 4 days later, they tried to debride my legs and save them, but it wasn't successful. So they ended up cutting off both of my feet.
With no warning, no thinking about it, they just said, this is the
You
way
have
it's
to do
got to
it.
be.
That's the only.
Yeah, she said, I don't know if I could save them or not. They took me into surgery, and I woke up and I came out and I didn't have any feet. So it was, I wasn't ready for that. But you know what? I never felt bad, or, some people get angry because of the surgeries and stuff. And I never felt that way. I just figured, well, I heard a saying that says something like, don't dwell on what you can't do, dwell on what you can do. So I got out of the hospital, and they stuck me in rehab, and I was gone for about 70 days. And when I finally got home, Justin Proctor, he's the guy that makes.
Oh, Justin,
do you
I know
Justin?
him. Yes,
He's
yes.
a hell of
Good
a
guy.
nice guy.
Yes, he is. Very good.
And anyways, he came to my house, measured my legs, made my prosthetics, and when I went there to get a fitting, I had to use a wheelchair then. they put them on, and they just wanted me to stand up and, you know, see if I could stand up. And I says, I want to walk. And she was crying.
We were all crying. We all get our videoing the whole thing because he walked
He's got those
everywhere.
parallel bars.
Yeah, we just
As
took
soon as
off.
he put them on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I think you had a wake-up call. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you went from stubbornness and saying, this is my new life. I need to address it, take it head on.
Yeah.
And you had Joe right there with you.
The reason I didn't want to go to the doctor is I didn't want to be probed. Well, after coming out of Medina Hospital, I was fully probed after that. So it was, you know, I finally realized that it was no big deal going to the doctor. Or, you know, a lot of people are afraid to go to the doctor.
Oh, yeah,
You
definitely.
know, and I could admit that I was one of them. But now, when I have a doctor's appointment, it's no big deal.
Wow. How long did you have diabetes?
Probably about 10 years that I'm aware of,
Okay.
you know.
And you were on medication or?
Yeah, I used to take an oral medication. Now I take insulin.
Oh, okay.
The oral medication didn't set well with me. It upset my stomach all the time.
Oh.
So the insulin's a lot more forgiving for me. But so we got my prosthetics, and I was probably using a walker, and up until I want to say last January of 2014
Okay.
was the last time I used a walker. And I just started walking around the house. You know, we got enough furniture everywhere that I could, you know, grab on things and steady myself. So I started walking in the house. Then I got a little bolder, and I'd walk out to the car without anything. And then I'd go to dialysis, and I'd walk in at Medina Hospital, and then I'd have to go down the elevator and walk down the hall. So
Oh, yeah.
so I would do that by myself. So you know, the more you do it, the more your confidence level gets up, and I was able to pretty much walk everywhere now. You know, I can't walk real far. You know, I wouldn't be going like a mile walk or anything, but I can do it.
I just want to ask you, do you have fathom pain?
Yes, I have phantom pain sometimes. You actually, you might not understand this, but when they take your feet, you still have the nerves there. And I could feel like it feels right now that I have toes and that I could wiggle them. If you could believe that.
Yeah.
You know, you still have the feeling down there, you know. But yes, sometimes I get cramping in my legs. And I think some of that's due to dialysis, because they take fluid off you during the process. And if they take too much off, I get cramps. So,
Okay, you made this journey sound so easy. Did you have an ugly period? Did you hate the world and why me? And
no, I did. Like I say, the only ugly period I had is recovering. You know, I had an amputation. I had a bed sore in my back where I had the wound vac on the tailbone.
Okay.
And then I had a catheter in. So and then plus I had a plug up here in my neck for dialysis. So I had all kinds of plug-ins, you know.
Oh, wow.
And I got rid of them one at a time finally. And that was probably what I would say would be the ugly period, would you say?
Yeah, you could probably do a lot. He would have recovered a lot sooner if he didn't have all these contraptions he had to bring with him when he went.
So.
Okay, you seem to me like you're the perfect patient. Because I used to be involved with the support group, Medina Hospital, and when the patients would come in, there was a lot of negative, you know, like they couldn't get on the right road, you know, just everything just kept happening for them. Now you seem like everything went your way. I'm going to talk to Jo next because I'm sure she's got another side of the story. But you sound like you have a really good attitude. Where do you pull that good attitude from?
I just have always been like that. I enjoy doing different things, and I feel, you know, I don't let myself get down where I feel depressed or anything. I don't think I ever.
I don't think you were ever depressed.
No.
That's awesome.
He wanted to get his life back, and he did.
Yeah.
And you had a couple changes And so you just have to go with the new changes.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. You have to. You have. What did you do for a living?
For over 30 years, I was a general manager for an equipment rental company. We rented, backhoes and bulldozers, all kinds of construction equipment. It was called Miller Rental.
Oh, okay.
And I did that. And when I got out of there, I had enough rental. I had a couple odd jobs, as I call them. And one of them was I repoed cars for Ford Motor Credit. And
okay.
that was interesting. It drove my wife crazy. She was always calling me, wanting to know if I was okay. Because I'd leave after dinner, and I'd come home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Because looking for the cars was easier at nighttime.
In the driveways,
Yeah,
or
people would be home and whatever. And then I sold Harley Davidson motorcycles for a while, and that was a fun job.
and you probably had one.
I had a couple. So I used to ride motorcycles a lot, and I rode in 43 different states, and I need 7 more to complete all 50 states. And I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try. Maybe next year.
Very good. Good. So you are driving then now?
Yes.
Okay. So did you have to take another test for that, or is it all hand controls, or?
Well, in order to get the hand controls put in your car, you have to take a driving test. So I had to go to Heights Driving School there in Richmond Heights
Okay.
on Highland Road, very close to Richmond Mall. And I had to go there, and they gave me 3 lessons. And most of the third lesson was doing the maneuverability for the parking for your test. And they had the hand controls in their car already. When I went to take the test, the day of my test, they let me use their car. So I went over and took my driving test. First thing they make you do is the maneuverability test. So I passed that, so I figured, whew, I'm good to go. The driving part will be easy, right? So anyways, I took the examiner, got in the car with me, and we went for a little drive. And she'd say, turn here at the light, turn to left. So I put my blinker on. When I got back, she goes, I took 10 points off your test because you were turning your blinker on too early. So I thought, oh, come on. But anyways,
Really?
I passed the test, so that was all that mattered to me, And so once you pass your test, to answer your question, you have to go and get I went to see a lady named Kathy Benko at Akron Mobility Works.
Okay.
And they installed the controls in my car. Took about a day. We sat there for 8 hours because at the time we only had one car. And she put them in the car for me, and I've been driving ever since.
That is awesome.
It was, it was probably the most freedom I felt since all this happened. Because before I had the controls installed, I'd tell Joe, I says, can you take me here? And, if she didn't feel like going, she goes, I don't want to go. And that would just make me mad. I wanted to go someplace. But I don't have to do that anymore, so I got my freedom back.
But getting used to the controls, how was that playing with your mind? Because you're going from your feet to your hands.
It was nothing.
Nothing?
Anybody could do it. It's very easy.
Well, that's
And
good.
it gets to the point where you don't even think about it anymore.
Very good.
Good.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. So come on back, and we're going to hear more of Jim's story and Joe's input too.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
We need a claim number?
When I started taking care of Mom, I didn't realize the challenge of playing so many roles. But above all, I'm still her daughter.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving. We're here to help.
Welcome back to Golden Years. I'm Lori Betts, and I am interviewing the Sandersons. And Jim is sharing with us his side of the story of becoming an amputee. Now, behind every good, successful man, there is a wonderful woman leading him down the right road. So, Joe, I want to hear your story through this journey of Jim's.
Be gentle.
Well, I kind of knew what was going on, even though he didn't like to talk about it. He like kept everything to himself. And towards the end, it was hard. My son would come. We tried to get him to go to the doctor, and he wouldn't go, and he didn't want to talk about it until the very last day. I do think he didn't tell the story about how our 10-year-old granddaughter wrote him a letter
Oh, my.
saying goodbye, or you're the best papa ever, and stuff like that. And I really think that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
And my daughter-in-law, too, also was trying to say goodbye. And it was very emotional.
Oh, yeah.
And the next day is when he said, he asked me to call the ambulance, and I did.
Wow.
But I knew the process he was going through because he was hardly eating. He lived on popsicles for a couple weeks. And all he did was sit in the chair. And he did mention to me, because let's go to the hospital, he would say, no, I just want to die in my chair. And that was very hard. So when we got to the hospital, the doctors looked at me like, you know, how come you waited so long? And I told them, I says, I tried to get him to come. He just was too stubborn. And they said,
And he's not a tiny boy either.
no. I mean, I couldn't help him, you know, so they says, well, if you would have waited a little bit longer, he would have got his wish. And those are their exact words. He would have gotten his wish to die in his chair. So we went through the process, and he was in the hospital a long time. But once he got his, I remember the physical therapist telling him, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And he was a fighter. He wanted his life back. And he did everything and then plus to get his life back. And then once he started walking, the best part of it was when he went to OP services and they wanted him to try on his legs. And he said, no, I'm going to walk. And he started walking. And we all got our video cameras out on our phone, and we were all crying.
That's amazing.
Because he walked out of the place, you know, with his walker.
Really? That is awesome.
And it was just a fitting. He says, no, I'm walking. And he's been walking ever since. But every day is like does something new every day.
You got a second lease on life.
He did. He got a second chance in life.
So, and God kept you here. So that is why you said the physicians approached you
Yes.
to start a support group.
They said I was their poster child. You know, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't like talking about myself. You know, I feel like I'm bragging. And but they said that I guess there's a lot of patients that are not as easygoing, or they don't listen to them as well, and it's harder to recoup. If you don't listen to anybody,
Yeah.
and you think you know more than the doctors, you're not going to recoup.
Yeah, you have to leave that attitude at home.
Yep.
And you have to develop a new one.
Right.
And the therapy, I'm sure the therapy was hard. And if you have a good therapist behind you, you know, to give you that extra push.
Yeah.
And Joe?
When I was in rehab, and you'd be laying in bed, and the therapist would come in and stick their head in the window and go, "Are you ready?" And I hated to see them come. I just
It was work.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
So they'd throw me in the wheelchair, and I'd have to, you know, they wouldn't even push me sometimes. You know, they want you to do everything on your own. So I'd wheel down the hall, get there, and they'd make me do a bunch of different exercises and things, and you know, they made me do things I didn't want to do.
But thank God today you did.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'd be so tired when I get done with the therapy, they'd feel sorry for me and they'd push me back to the room. But like she said it, you get out of it what you put in it.
Now, did you say stay 70 days in the hospital or rehab or?
No.
Total?
Total.
He was like gone all summer.
Okay, but in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't go to a rehab facility.
Yeah, I
Well,
did.
they were rehabs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went to a rehab place at first for about 3 weeks. It was life care.
Okay.
Then I came back because I had that bed sore in the hospital.
Okay.
Then they stuck me in a rehab for was a month
Another
at least.
month.
A month up in Middleburg Heights called Regency was the name of the place.
Okay.
So,
You've been around.
yeah.
So you could write a book just about being in rehabs. So,
Oh yeah, the stories in the rooms are unbelievable.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. If the walls can talk.
Yep.
So did you name the support group or
I
Amputees
think
in
that
Action?
we all got together collectively, and with Dr. Boyle and Jackie Brace, and we came up with that name, and it started. We had our first meeting in May of this year. Mm-hmm. So we've had a few meetings, and our next meeting is on the 14th of this month, October 14th.
Is it always the same,
Yes.
like a Thursday or?
It's the second Wednesday of every month,
Okay.
except for November, because that's Veterans Day.
Oh. Are you a veteran?
No,
Okay.
I didn't make it. I tried to volunteer for the draft because I had a low draft number. And when I was a kid, I was in the Boy Scouts, and we were playing water polo, and I got a broken eardrum. So when they gave me my physical, they looked in my ear, and the guy went, "You're out of here." So I got married instead.
And thank God you did. After how many years?
44 years.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, so the group is going strong,
We're going pretty good.
and we meet where?
We meet at the Medina Senior Center. It's at 246 Northland Drive in Medina.
Okay, what time of day?
6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Okay.
And they have an access ramp to get in. They have an elevator. So I didn't find that out until the second time I went there. But first time I had to walk down like 20 steps. Then as I made the turn, I looked across and I saw a ramp. And then when I went in and told the lady, I says, I didn't see that ramp until I walked down all those steps.
Oh my.
And she said, well, we have an elevator.
So you must have come in the main door, or?
Yeah. But
Oh.
as soon as you come in, heading towards the main entrance, there's a sign that says Senior Center. And there's an arrow pointing down those steps. So I just walked down the steps. I'm glad I
Oh,
didn't
the
have to walk.
outside steps.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm glad I didn't have to walk up those steps on the way out.
Really? Good thing. You were rewarded.
Yeah.
So you have good attendance, or is it hit and miss? Or?
It's pretty consistent. We run about 10 people.
That's a
and,
good amount of people.
We'd like to get more. You know, I had an ad I ran in the Armstrong cable for like over a month they ran it. But I think part of the problem is a lot of people that are, amputees like myself have to rely on public transportation.
Oh, good point.
And the Medina County Transit stops running at 6 o'clock.
Oh,
So
okay.
that could be part of it. So
Have you considered changing times, or?
yeah, I was just telling Joe on the way over here, maybe we should look at that, but I think it's
Especially-
too early to change,
Okay.
You know,
'Cause
if I had
you
a-
got the darkness coming, you got the snow coming.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
We don't want to think about that.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to say that. All right. What advice do you want to give the viewers for people out there in your situation, whether they're you or whether they're Joe? This is, you guys are in this together. You took your marriage vows, so you are a great support system.
Thank you.
Because I have a husband too, so I know when they get ugly, you just zip it.
Well, as you know, we've been married 44 years, and every day is not a sunshiny day.
Correct. And I'm sure you both have attitudes at times.
Sure. But my best advice would be listen to your wife, go see the doctor,
Oh, yeah.
and take care of yourself.
And you got a second chance to live. So that is
did.
awesome.
A lot of people don't get 2 chances.
You're right. Oh yeah, you're definitely right.
Yep.
And for you, and I hear different stories because I have a couple customers on the forearm crutches, and then they just have, if it's a one leg, they just,
Send them over.
yeah, I'm gonna pass the information over.
I think it's a lot easier if you only have one, artificial leg, because you can still, you can walk better, you can recover better. It's just in my own opinion. I can't say that because I've never been there. I lost both at once, but
Really, without warning, because no one prepared you ahead of time to say this is
Nothing.
going to happen on this date.
No.
You were at their mercy.
but I feel better now than I did before I lost my legs.
Did you have a hard time walking?
Yes, I had a hard
Okay.
time because I had neuropathy in both of my legs. Couldn't feel my toes. That affects your balance.
Oh yeah.
You could ask
Big
Joe.
time.
I'd fall. Couldn't walk very far.
How'd you get up?
Climbed
He
up.
would get up himself. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, because he's your
I
dead
can't help
weight.
him.
I fell off the bed a couple times without my legs on. That's hard getting back on the bed, I can tell you that.
God, you've been through a lot of challenges.
You just get through one at a time,
Did you have to lower the bed?
Okay.
Or did you make any changes there?
She come up behind me and gave me a shot put.
It worked.
I probably did once.
I'm sure did you do a lot of laughing through this too? Now that you can look back?
Well, when you fall, you don't really feel nothing to laugh about, but I don't know, you didn't do too much laughing, did you?
No, not really a whole lot of laughing. There's a lot of obstacles we had to overcome.
Oh, I'm
But
sure.
it wasn't funny, It's just,
I'm sure your life changed as well as his. Were you
Totally.
working when all this happened?
yes, I
or-
was.
So you had to
I had,
retire?
I had to cut back on my hours, but it was okay. If he's just going to sit there in bed, he really did need my help for a few hours, But no, I did cut back on my hours.
Last September, she went to Italy for 3 weeks, so she left me on my own.
Oh, okay.
With the intentions, if he could do it, that was it. I told my brother, "You better get insurance on my tickets because I don't know." But he was fine.
Very good.
I left him for a month and he was okay.
So you have your wife and your granddaughter to thank,
And granddaughter and daughter-in-law
and daughter-in-law, and your son.
and his kids,
Yep.
our
Yeah.
kids.
That's wonderful.
We're his support.
I just should have listened to him earlier.
Yeah.
But but you can't look back, but now you're looking ahead and you're
right.
starting your new life and you're giving yourself a chance. You're not denying yourself another life.
No.
So
But
that's awesome.
it took a team. It took myself, it took my kids, my grandkids, my daughter-in-laws, the whole family.
All together.
Because life goes on, but it changes everybody's life.
Oh, it does, I'm sure. Like you said with your job,
it
too.
changes everything. And at one point, he's going, "What did it change?" I go, "You're kidding me?" It changed not only my life, it changed the kids, the grandkids, everybody's life. Because you have to learn how to adapt and adjust to a different lifestyle, and which we did.
It's awesome.
Moving forward.
A+ for you.
Thanks.
That is wonderful. Poster child. All right, can we tell people your email address
Sure.
or your personal phone number?
Sure. It's,
They could contact you anywhere.
Our phone number is 216-244-4604.
Okay.
That's mine, and Joe's number is 330-635-3512.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us this month. I hope you enjoyed Jim and Joe. And if you have anybody in this situation and needs a support group, because caregiving alone can be very, very challenging. So please give them a call. Have a good month, and we'll see you in December.
Welcome to Understood.org. a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and expert advice.